Could be early Saturday morning, depends where you are in the world. Thank you for coming on through. I'm coming to you live today. Let me get this stuff set up. See if I can get this thing right. Get this thing set up. We're gonna get on here real quick. Okay, we're gonna start. Okay, let me get this thing straight. On right now. What's up? What's up on right now? What's up? What's up? What's up? Can you hear me? If you are on, give me a one. I just came on. I am back. I am back now. And it's black in real time. I am now here. What's up? I had to go send out the notifications, but I am here now. So if you want to holler, holler. Give me a one if you can hear me. And I'm here. I just got back. Actually, I was trying to take a piece of that center in Djokovic Wimbledon match. So forgive me on that. I'm busy up there trying to yeah. But it's all good now. What's going on? It's a Friday. Could be morning, afternoon, could be night, could be early Saturday. Depends on where you are in the world. Thank you for coming through. Glad to have you. And we are doing this today. I'll be on for a little while and see what's all. Timmy T, if you still there, holla. Holla. I wasn't gone that long. But anyway, what's on your mind? What's talking? Yeah, so Mitch McConnell's wife left. And everybody says she fair game to go. Yeah, he's they say he's brain on the live right now, so what's she gonna do? That's what they're saying. It makes sense. It makes sense. Of all the places that he could go, that would probably be the best one for him because they actually got more of a stacked team. I think that's what it comes down to. Cleveland, you can't trust Harden and Mitchell. You know, I like Jared Allen, but you got to have they're just too soft. They're lighting the cakes. Um, Miami needs a point guard, shooting guard, two pieces off the bench. It's a work in and I don't think he'd go back. I don't think he'd go back. Philly makes sense because of what you got. So you got more pieces there. So that makes sense. Yeah, but you need a point guard and you need a shooting guard and you need people off the bench. And Bam don't score 80 points a week sometimes, let alone in the game. So that's not gonna happen. Giannis injuries. You got to get the ball to who gonna facilitate? You're looking at it from one perspective. Yeah, okay. If only this was what 12, 13 years ago, that's all it would need. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. But LeBron is 40, almost 42, and Giannis is starting to get injury. And Bam, no, you gotta have a legitimate guard play. They need a guy that can, you know, they don't have the luxury of being slack with that because if any of them guys get hurt or Bam goes cold or LeBron goes cold, they in trouble. So now it's not that simple. I could say it as a Heat fan because I didn't want him back no way, and also because if I'm looking being realistic, the Golden State thing was a honeymoon. He played great in the finals for Golden State, but he's always been kind of streaky. He's always been one of those kind of guys that come see, come saw. He can be so. And that's why he get traded like he do. Good player, and at moments look very good, but then he has some other moments where he can be very mid on your behind, and then he can he beats you on good defense, or you get offense, but you never get a combination. So if you want me to tell you the truth about Wiggins, he'd be like a double junior whopper broke version of Kawhi Leonard. That's the best way to describe him. When he's on, he's a problem. But when he's off, he's a different kind of problem. And I don't think you can afford to take those chances. Not if you're trying to win. And I like Wiggins all right, but you got to have it's a reason why he looked good in Golden State because they had Steph and Clay in them. And he looked like a good second or third option when he's like that. But he has to have the right pieces. Talent, he got, but it's just too much that you got to go through to get him right. So that's the problem. They told y'all a lie, but it's a nice honeymoon. We all have a honeymoon. We all, oh yeah, no. Jabari was nice. Was. I said in the past tense. And it's funny when you say some names and it's like, wow, I remember when that dude actually, and then he turned into Smush Parker. But ain't it something how that worked? Ain't there somehow that worked? Hype is a big thing. That's why when people always asking me, do I um take the draft seriously? I try to tell you I don't. I don't. Because uh too many cats' careers don't end up like you think they're going to. You get guys who look a certain way. It's all systematic. It's all systematic. It really is. Then it really is because yeah, a guy can look like a beast here. Yep, he's a good one. Maybe like a baby David Robinson. Yep. But I seen a lot of them like that come out, get to the pros, and what ends up happening is they either don't get the right rotation or they get the wrong situation, and then they get hard. Yep, yep, yep. That's what's done a lot of these guys in too. A lot of these guys, because if they couldn't pull up and knock down a 15, 20-foot shot, they in trouble. And when, I think cats that were 7 foot long and lean were banking on being more like David Robinson with agility, but you got to have a fadeaway, you got to have a shot, and you got to have the right system. So you know, you got to have the right system. You got to have the right system. That's what it comes down to. And I've seen it. You give some examples. I've seen it. I've seen it. Yes, I do. You would have to think they would because to me, Brown was doing the bulk of the work and Tatum was getting all the credit. I'll share this with you. I got into this with this uh she's a fan out of Boston. And I mentioned colorism because I said that, yep. And I got into it with her and I'll see what you think. You tell me, give me a one if you think I'm right, give me a two if I'm wrong. I said JB was too black. They treat him like Kunta Kinte. I said they pushing Tatum. It's like a house and a field situation. And so she comes back and she said, well, what about Golden State with Steph and them? I said, no. I said, because Steph changed the course of basketball. I said, there is no situation with him and Clay like this. I said, this thing here in Boston is completely different. I said, because Jalen Brown was Eastern Conference Finals MVP, Finals MVP. He was a top 6 MVP candidate this year. You could make the case top 3 or 4 this year if you were technical. He carried that team. I have yet to see Jason Tatum play at that kind of level. I've seen him put up some good numbers. I haven't seen him be like Jalen Brown. I said it's not the same. So got into this big old stink about that. And what's happening? How you living? Long time no see. Good to have you come through. Been a long time. Told you cats I was gonna be on today, and I got picked the right time. I'm glad y'all showing up too. Showing up, showing out. But yeah, it was a big old stink. I said you can't compare the Steph complexion with. I said Steph's a better version of Tatum. I said who won in Boston and won the chip. I said you can't even make that comparison. I said the thing is that JB. I'm about consistency though. You gotta remember, you gotta be consistent though. I haven't seen Tatum play without Brown where he looked like an MVP. Been doing all right. How you doing? Been doing good, man. How you been? How's the baby? How's the thing going? Been good, just staying cool. Summertime, drinking water. I was watching some of this tennis match with Djokovic and Sinner, so but everything's cool. Yeah, I just said as a team leader, when people want to bring a complexion, I said, well, you can bring a complexion, that's fine. I said, but Curry earned his rights. I said, nobody saw him and Clay rolling like that. Wrong. It always is. I don't want him to win though. I do well, back and forth. Yeah, I'm pulling for center though. Because I think he got something though. The best is for Federer for me. Federer is my all-time favorite. Roger was the truth, y'all. Roger was the truth. I didn't want Roger to leave. Nadal is bad. And if he could ever play on grass like he did on clay, like he could, Federer was my dog. Federer was the one. Boring. Respected him, but it was like watching paint dry. He was bad for his time, but he just didn't move me like Federer did. But he was bad for his time. I saw what I call the four horsemen of men's tennis with Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and Andy Murray. That was something. I glad to seen that. That was something. Watch those guys. I don't think we're gonna see that again. That was kind of like in golf when you had Tiger, Phil, and VJ. But really, I haven't had no encounter with him, but thanks for letting me know. She missed at the mark. She missed at the net. And like I was pulling for, but she had that when she missed that volley, she had that net stick. See, again, it's always those little things, attention to detail. That's what I used to always say about Tiger Woods, the difference between him and Phil. He could hit the shortest, he could hit the long. You gotta be attention to detail. That's the difference between wins and losses in them situations. It's not a lot. It's not a lot, but it's enough to nudge. And if you don't finish up what you got, you're gonna catch an L when you're gonna be like, oh, and that's the difference. And you know, she's still 22, so she's got a chance, but she gotta it's open right now with the women's tennis. She was cool for a while. She was cool for a while. This new one that's out, Sharalinga or whatever her name is, I thought she was gonna win, and she ain't really dominant like she's supposed to. The one that's out, the number one seed, she don't dominate like she should. You know, it's open on the women's side though. Oh, I'm gonna watch because Wimbledon's one of my favorites, and I do like Carlos Alcaraz. Alcaraz not being there is a big void on the men's side. Alcatraz is a big void because that dude is bad too. He's like a baby Nadal. Well, playing it is real technical because if you ain't on the right line and all that, you got to understand the technicalities of it. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Tennis is a very integral piece. No, 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 no. What makes you think Coco got something that's put? That ain't got nothing to do with it. There've been rigs of everything you can imagine. Yeah, I'm more of a badminton dude. But tennis is cool if you know what you're doing, but you got to volley. I don't go fast now. I can do a little bit more of a badminton person. Just like I play more like putt putt. I don't, but I got respect. Listen, I respect any sport. I respect any sport. Tennis is because you got to start that thing real young. Well, if you're doing a lot of moving with your body, and obviously cats got to watch what they eat. They got to have a certain diet. They got to, you know, yeah, you got to be agile. Ping pong is a little bit different because that's hand-eye coordination and all in your wrist and in your movement. So that's a little bit different. Tennis is like lower body, upper body, a lot of cross fade movement. And anybody can hit the ball across their body. I got much respect. It definitely takes work. It definitely takes work. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Both. Because you gotta have crazy athleticism. I used to what's that, the Will Chamberlain, Bill Walton volleyball? That's where Will Chamberlain really showed his athleticism. Yeah, well, that's true. I'm not gonna argue about that. I mean, I've played for a couple of cats that could really move that ball. So like I said, hand-eye coordination. You just have to kind of keep your hands and your eyes moving, and you got to almost do it like a rhythm. If you're playing ping pong, that's like playing a piano, playing some, you got to do, it's like, dude, So, yeah, volleyball is um, it's a great workout. It's a great work, especially if you can spike. I think that's where a lot of guys, that's what they're doing in the NBA. I mean, so if you watch that Seattle Sonics Chicago Bulls finals, nowadays everybody shoot threes. They used to back tap. That's volleyball. I guess. I don't know. I'm not interested in it. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, there should be. I mean, I don't like it when two countries represent that because it's kind of boring. I really don't. Joshua, because of the whole losing the car accident, Tyson Fury, but I don't know. I mean, see, they got boxing, but is it really that intriguing? I mean, really? It's kind of like by default, you know. If you got absolutely nothing else to watch, then I'd say yeah. Would I watch it? I don't know. I'm not really that big on either one. I respect Fury, all right, and Joshua was a tough cat, but am I really blown away? Are we really blown away at boxing in this time? I was keeping up with Coco and I was keeping up with Naomi. But I'm aware. I told you the number one seed didn't win. She got knocked out, and that was disappointing because Sharinka, whatever her name is, he's a brother that can play, but he just doesn't have what I call finishing skills. Depends on who you think of. Yeah, she just can't seem. People don't understand. That's how great Serena and Venus were. It takes some time. For his generation, just like Pele was the dog back in the day, Ronaldo. I mean, you got different. You know, when people say this, right? They almost acting like it all ended when someone comes along. You got to be careful with that. Yeah, she can't seem to do what she's supposed to. She can't seem to do what she's supposed to. She got everything you would think, the size, but she doesn't finish up strongly. Not in the big matches. Not for what I thought she was projected to be. So I don't know about Sabalenka. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of debates. Like, there's some people in baseball right now who are going to tell you that Otani and Bonds, and you might get that, and because it's kind of hard because things are subject to change. There's certain things you can say, certain things are opinion, you know, but it all depends on what you're looking at. Y'all music fans, right? If y'all music fans, give me a one because I got a question for you, and it's a curious question. It's two different styles, but I think you can give me an answer. And we just gonna concentrate on the music, just the music. If you had to pick out a R. Kelly and George Michael, who you got? Oh yeah, wait, because there ain't no dominant women out here. Because Salenka like us a good Sabalenka, Naomi, Coco. The Czech chick, that one Czech chick that beat Coco, they call comparative Navratilova. She got a good follow through. But when you start comparing someone to Navratilova, you better be on your game. I'm not impressed though. Cooking, they not winning nothing. Cooking what? Cooking what? They getting cooked. Would you see LeBron's defense? Did he not have to fire behind Austin Reeves cooking? KD, what happened in round one? Get injured in a scrimmage. You can't even play the first round, and your team does not have any leadership. Can't score. Curry can still play, but injuries and they old. Okay, thank you for that. That was a real discussion because I had to go against this cat, UK cat. He was boasting about Jordan Michael being up there with Michael because he had the faith era and he said how big it was than bad and he was bigger than R. Kelly. And I'm like, I said he had a great album and some great songs. I said, but and the cat tried to say, well, it's a European thing. I said, he faded. I like a lot of his songs, but he ain't, R. Kelly was dominant. I mean, I don't think people realize, you know, how dominant he was 90s early oh had the most top 40 hits for a male in R&B. Not in the R&B, but just in pop in general. Wrote more bigger songs for other artists too. George Michael was bad for his time. And I did like him as a singer songwriter and a talented dude, but I mean, I listen to George Michael vocally, but Elton John's gonna win that. I listen to George Michael vocals more but Elton John's gonna win that because Elton's got better songs just for Benny and the Jets alone. I mean, That's Philadelphia freedom. I mean, and then George Michael did "Don't Let the Sun Come Down on You" with him, but he not. I liked his career, but I can only listen to like his hits because there's certain things that he just I don't know. When he faded, he faded. When he was good, he was good. But Elton John, even though Elton John faded from me after the '70s and '80s, he got better songs. He's got better songs, and he was a strong showman on stage too. Oh, you know what it is. It's just like the. Do I say like OKC San Antonio? I mean, you already know. And the British cat got beat in the first round. It was like Cinderella. His shoes came to get collected. You know, it's tough. It's tough. But I still think if Carlos Alcaraz is there, I think you see something different though. Yeah, it's a good little music debates we had going on right there. Thank y'all for participating on that one. I, you know, I said, people's biases be out of control. I said, look, we like to who we like, but sometimes when you putting up somebody, and if you take your bias out of it, you know, there's always one. There's always one. That's what the contact. You always get that one. You hope to get that one because I tell it like this: we're in an era where there is parity, there is a certain watered downness, and you should have a moment to shine. More so, there used to be a time when you upset somebody back in the day, you were a household name. No, but it doesn't hurt. But no, no, you just have to, between your talent, and your agility, and you gotta have a lot of things fall in your place. Yeah, if that was the case, Salenka would still be playing. So Salenka, and she's tall. It's a lot of different factors. Venus had the right size and the height. Venus Williams to me was almost like an Hakeem Olajuwon of tennis. She was conditioned. But Venus came along and she okay. Yeah, okay. She's got that LeBron syndrome. And listen, I know you're getting tired of your husband. Them kids be nagging and why you so great, mommy? Why will you watch the just because you can still play? I listen. That's nice, but there's a reason why Tom Brady's wearing the blazer now. Knowing to say when. I love Serena. I think she's the best female I ever saw play, but it's over. It's been over. And when you start losing to some tomato cans, that's when you know it's time to hang it up. And I hope that's not the case with her, but I got a feeling that that's what's going to happen. You asking me how did she get better in her game? She was so Serena Williams to me, um, when she first started off had that power game. But like in the movie, if you watch King Richard, um, he said you're gonna be great. And she had she had the right sister, she had the right motivation. Cause he's still chasing something. He don't want to go home. He ain't got no well, first of all, adulation. That's all he know. He think he Michael Jackson, Steve Wonder, like he a kid that grew up before he did grow up before people's eyes, and he can't stop. She can't. She can't. You can't beat Father Time. You can play in the mix, and you can have some moments where you look legit. She can't beat it. She first of all, everything she did, the girls are doing what she doing now. So yeah, and her game isn't going to overpower you. It's like Tiger Woods. Can he come back and play professionally? Yeah. Can he come back and dominate? No. Can he come back and win? Sorry to hear that. Hello, how are you? And you got to introduce yourself because I don't know what that mean. What that means? See, if you're gonna play when you're older, you gotta give yourself momentum and momentum. I don't know if you can do that. People are coming at you in ways I don't know if you can do that. I think he's finished either way because he can play well enough to get deep, but at this stage, he's basically trying to play to get one more title. He know he ain't got but so much left in the tank, and he has looked busted the last couple of years. Father Time is on his door, so he thinking if I can get that one more chip, and if he's smart, he gets out because it will be nothing more embarrassing to lose to some tomato can who just waxes your behind poetically, and you just don't get back because he's got to know that. Look, what you playing at this stage. To me, he's over finished. I don't think he won't be playing when you're 50 playing baseball. I think Barry Bonds could probably play a couple more years, but I don't know. I mean, you got to have a lot of stuff going for you. Baseball is the hardest sport in the world to play because you got to hit a baseball and pitch. And I don't know. I mean, guys, I mean, people playing, I don't know. It's kind of hard to answer that because baseball is a tough sport, and I don't think you want to see somebody out there just because they put in a double digit age that they still playing, you know. Because eventually, when you get embarrassed, you're going to get embarrassed. And when you get embarrassed, then what? So I wouldn't recommend it. It didn't end well for Willie Mays trying to play it forever. Guys lose something. Nolan Ryan was able to pitch. It's interesting some pitchers able. I think Roger Clemens had some juice in him, but you can always tell though when a cat loses something. Why would he go to the big three for? It wouldn't do him no good. There's nothing that Ice Cube could really offer him, and he already, unless of course they were going, um, you know, yeah, it depends on the players on the big three. Cats got to do a lot different. It's not the same. And I couldn't imagine him doing that. That'd be like a step back. Well, the white can't get to play in the big NBA. That's why. You already know. Being a booty bandit, you ain't gonna let him back in the NBA. They don't need a doctor to do a physical. So he's where he gonna be. That's as close back to the parquet floor he gonna get. So he better just enjoy that. And I wouldn't be surprised if the white ends up being on wrestling or something. Believe me, he got himself covered. I don't know who his agent is. They're doing a good job. And it didn't look good either. Some of the cats be doing it because they need the bag. I think in Iverson's case, it's PR for all the guys he used to play. But for Iverson, it was really like a redemption to kind of like clean up his image, because he really left the NBA not looking too good. The White just left the NBA after he got that ring, and they put it on his resume. It's almost like we owed him something, But at the same time, he's kind of problematic. They won't touch him, but they will, So it's dicey call. So I don't put a lot of stock in it. I don't put a lot of stock in it. But some cats, I was glad to see my dude Raul playing. Some cats you don't mind. Some cats you kind of like. Now, what I really want to see is Ben Simmons play. Now, that'd be hilarious. But anyway. Yeah, Big Three is a little bit not. It's become novelty now. Nope. Sean Payton didn't try to be all smart aleck. I think Kansas City gonna come back. I think he made a mistake on offense, and that quarterback of his that's problematic. If they win the division, they got to go to the Super Bowl, and I don't know because if I'm Sean Payton, that's the only thing I got to push. Push, and they had too many rabbits feet last year, so I don't know. Defense was legit, but the offense, is that where he's going? That's what I'm saying. Bo Nixon talk a lot of smack, and he always got this last second, fourth quarter comeback. But if you rattled him enough, I don't know. I just think that there's too much problems there with Denver. They need more steady. So I don't know. I don't really care because after the way he treated Russell Wilson, I'm not even feeling Russell like that, but he was dog. And then I heard that story. I did that video about how he was going to coach the Broncos and try to get Belichick in to coach a year so he could break down Shula's record. I don't like Sean Payton at all. So no. Braun with the Sixers makes the most sense. I've already said it makes the most sense. That's a starting lineup. There's no starting lineup in Miami. Cleveland's too soft and light in the cakes, and Gold State's too old. Yeah. Oh, I ain't gonna be no championships. I just said that with Philly would be a good spot with Jim, but it ain't gonna be because I don't know what Nick Nurse would do. Nick Nurse has had been dealt a very uneven hand since he's been in Philly. Joel Embiid pretty much is almost self-imposed retirement. Paul George was shooting videos. Tyrese Maxey was coming along, but you never had a complete team. Now you got Jalen Brown. That's gonna be interesting. No, I don't. None of the old guard is gonna win a ring. LeBron, Durant, Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Harden, Paul George. That era is not. And you throw Dame Lillard in there, but he's not part of that era per se. But you know what I mean. They not winning no ring. Mm-mm. Mm, mm-mm. You know. I know they want LeBron to get a token ring bad, but I think people are seeing how tough it really is too. So many things have to go your way. Well, I'm counting Curry out because Al Horford is what 68. Draymond Green's a triple negative single. Porzingis is injury bound. Jimmy Butler ain't coming back to midway part, and we know that Steve Kerr is allergic to the young. He might have a gym over there, but we don't never know. They'll play hard. Listen, I'm gonna give Curry this. He can play healthy for a year or two. He get 30,000 career points. But as far as winning the chip, he's look a playing tournament at best. If they get 6 seed, they should have a block parade. They're not going to do it. Cleveland soft. Donovan Mitchell don't know how to step up another notch in the postseason. James Harden is halftimey. Uh, I like Jared Allen, but they don't know how to utilize the guard play there. Not at all. They shoot too much. They too soft. Miami needs inside out. You know, Philly. Yeah, well, Al Horford, he signed a 2-year more deal. Shoot, for him being a retirement home, what time to get him out of there? Neither one of them want him. He wouldn't fit the Knicks at this stage. What would he do in New York? They know how to hustle and scramble. They don't need him. And the Spurs don't need him. They just need the right guard play. He wouldn't fit with neither one of them situations. See, suddenly, first time in his career, he's an odd man out. The people don't need him. Not only does he have to take a price discount, but he got to go be panhandling to get to a team. Nobody's sweating for him. Rick Bucher already called it. Nobody wants him. And it ain't even quiet as it's kept. It's just the fact. Nobody wants or needs him at this stage. He's old hand. He knows. But if he goes to Philly, he got to play behind Jalen, and he's got to not mess with Tyrese Maxey. So can he do all that? If you can play behind Luca Ballhog and behind and Austin Reeves, who overachieved behind, you know what you got to do in Philly. And Maxey is better, and Vanderbilt, the kid's coming along. So yeah, and Jalen Brown. I mean, come on now. You'd have to defer and do what? Go out there and be a grandpa party, the Gray Panther party, and please go to Golden State and what? I think if they could get Anthony Davis, I think that would happen. But Washington ain't gonna budge. They got leverage, and they don't want Anthony Davis. That's what's up. See, they want some pieces, but that ain't what they want. Nobody wants Jimmy Butler. That's what's messing up the trade. The money's there, but Jimmy Butler's bad news. He's always need a cushion. But the problem is that but you talking about LeBron? Who you talking about when he needs a cushion? No, he needs a piece that's to the sides of him that can let him layer in between. See, the Reeves Austin thing didn't work because those cats don't play no defense and they're flawed as all get out. You know. So he wants to go somewhere he can rub off and be a cushion. He ain't got no cushion with that. The Philadelphia thing makes the most sense. A reason why you say New York, yeah, well, Bazingas is injury prone, and he's more subjective if he's like the third or fourth option. That's what he was his best in Boston. You want my honest opinion? No, well, see, the reason is because they think they can get something for him. Somebody will be dumb enough and gullible. Look, if Rudy Gobert can get a 6-piece, 8-piece meal, you can get something for Anthony Davis. You get 3 or 4 piece. Jimmy Butler ain't it though. I understand why they don't want Jimmy Butler. Because Jimmy Butler ain't a top tier player. And he also needs, you gotta have components there. You know. I know Washington feels like they can get more than that. I understand. That's enough. No one trusts him. He's giving you a body of work that says that come game 6 or 7, he's at the club. Holla over here. No one's gonna trust that turkey. He's good. I told you the James Harden story. 7 game series. He got 2 games where he's out to lunch, 2 games where he's in the game. Then he's got 1 game where he plays hit and miss. Then he got the other game it's like, okay, we can trust him again. Then there's the last game where he's at the club going to Cancun. You can't play with him. And I hate to say it, Kobe told him your style doesn't work and it's not championship basketball. And it don't. Listen, if James Harden had a ring right now and came up with a Finals MVP and all that, you'd almost put him right there with Steph because he perfected that Euro thing really well. But his postseason sucks. He's had golden opportunities with Dwight Howard, with CP3, now with Donovan, Durant, Kyrie. Can't get it done. Played with Joel Embiid. Has that opportunity. So, what you gonna do? Pretty much. Shoot, I remember that game when Ginobili swatted him, and and then they had him at the club. He was in Chloe's bed or one of Kardashian. I mean, his 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 uh his mindset and his ethics just don't. It's like, yo, you got the kind of career that if you won 1 ring with what your resume is, because we know you're gonna score a lot of more points. If he plays 2 or 3 more years, he'll move past 30 plus thousand. He's gonna be the most polarizing guy to move up the 30,000 club though, because he doesn't have a ring. And they're gonna always hold it against him. Well, she's hoping that because that they'll put a team around her that'll cover her flaws. See, and that's what they've been selling her on. But you gotta play better, and if you don't play better, this is what you get. So you know, I don't know. I don't know. I you know, she's got privilege, and they let her do what she want to do. You know. Now the hype for her is one thing, the reality is another. So her fan base don't care about that. They at this stage. But 4 or 5 years later, and she gets long in the tooth, and she don't, you know, believe me, she had a won something, they would never hear the end of it. Though, especially the way that they feel about, you know, um, um, uh, 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 what's the name? Angel Reese. Yep. He's got no choice, actually. So I know I had to tell somebody. I said it's a good move because we're in a day and an era where you can run three guards out there. Dame is on the downside of his career, in case y'all don't know. So before you come out and say, well, "What about Dame?" Dame's on the downside of his career. His days are almost done. Trying to get to Milwaukee was his last waving the white towel. He's about done. Now, Drew Holiday, I think it's a pit stop. I think if it's a contending team, somebody will come and get him. You know, you know. But y'all gotta come. Well, first of all, that owner is cheap enough to make him motivate him one way or the other. So we'll see. Well, they do that. If you're considered a superstar, they let you do what you want to do. That's nothing new. No, you don't. And they don't like each other. I still remember when the wave and the bye bye. I remember that whole thing in 2017. No, you don't. If you want two underachievers, there you go. In different ways, though. He couldn't cook in Milwaukee. Why would he cook in Boston? And before you tell me that Joe Mazzulla ain't met a 3-point line that he ain't like, what else can Dame do? Whose position was he supposed to fill in for? Who? That's why they got Pritchard and White and them out there. Dame wouldn't do nothing in Boston. He'd just be another guy that'd be trying to stat pad. He might have worked out okay with the Pacers, though, with Halliburton in the backcourt. No. Stats are gonna look better, but he's not. Clyde went to two finals. So I'm not gonna hold. What am I supposed to do with that? Clyde was considered like on par with Jordan to an extent. Dame ain't on par with Steph Curry. And how many times has Dame gotten his team deep in the postseason? Dame done had some. He gets you one round. But if I'm going by his postseason track record, he's more closer to Mookie Blaylock than he is to Steph Curry. One Western Conference Finals, please. It don't matter what guard you a tweener, whatever he is, he's not consistent to winning. I don't care what position you put him at, he ain't that dude. He's entertaining, Dame Dollar and all that, but it ain't winning. It ain't the kind of player that he. I put it to you like this: he got a better career than Brandon Roy. I'm gonna tell you what Dame Lillard messed up with me when they ran off LaMarcus Aldridge. That's where Dame and me parted like the sea, and he never got him a. Are you pregnant? I got to deal with trolls real quick. I am not dealing with no nonsense, so people gonna come in here and start some mess up. I tell you like this: my jaws look a bit bigger on the camera, but I'm not big, so you can look at my neck and see it's not big. But somebody want to come on here and be a broke comedian? Not quite. And we were having good conversations. Like I deal with some ignorance, and I'm not dealing with no ignorance. So you have a good feedback, and then somebody come on here want to be all funny time. Like I said, I'll be on them. What's more important? Playoff appearance. Because if you're good enough, you'll get your stats. What do we talk about with James Harden? Shoot, and when your stats fall off, what you got? Hmm. They do that because that's what the incentive is. That's not playing the game. See, that's what they trying to do. You got to have stats to get paid. However, does it really matter when we talk about what you done in your game? No. If you're not winning, you're losing. And if you're losing, chances are, see, it's a very when Jeremy Lin is the first Asian got the cat to win of one NBA final. He won a chip. That's a big deal. And they it says so. And he had that outer body in New York. He played good. You remember what you do. I remember what guys do in the postseason. I mean, stats are very misleading. I just got through talking about Dame Lillard up there, and I'm gonna talk about Devin Booker, who did get to a finals, but do we sit around and hold him in high regards? Um, that's a good question. I gotta say, well, Samuel Jackson got ate up before the movie. I had a chance to even start eating my popcorn. I still gotta say Jaws. There was none like Jaws at first. Yeah, you can come around now and say there were other films, but the first time, Jaws was creepy. The first time. Jurassic Park kind of seduced you, but Jaws was like intense off the jump between the music. If this was about 10 years ago, but I wouldn't even say that because Harden ain't never knew how to play with nobody great. He got to play with Kevin Durant, Kyrie, Dwight Howard, Joel Embiid. How's it turned out? Chris Paul. How's it turned out? What's his track record? What is his track record? You're talking about some wishful thinking, and maybe if this was 10 years ago, nobody would mess with James Harden after 2020. And a good combo at this stage with Curry is not him. He's too old now. Shoot, I was gonna put somebody old with Curry at this stage. I put Kawhi Leonard. If I'm gonna do that, if I was, that's what I was saying. And I saw both of them. I saw both of them. Because the truth is that Jaws happened when I was real, real young, but I did catch it in later part. I saw Jurassic Park '93, peak prime. When Samuel Jackson, it used to be if you're a black dude, you was gonna be gone. And sure enough, he was gone. But I've been to a place that looked like Jurassic Park, and I wasn't terrified. Go to the water and think about Jaws. That's real. Like, I've been on some water where it was some, dolphins and some seals and all that. I was like, this is real. So I'm just saying, for me, that's a no brainer. But I can't speak for anybody else. I mean, it all depends on what your threshold, what you see. Um, you know, Both are classic films, though. Both spooky to get you in different ways. But Jaws, because of that music and then that water, is no joke. That always gets me. I still can see Ray Schneider in my mind. Not for me personally. I mean, it was a good film, but not one of my favorites. And I haven't watched that movie in about 20 plus years. Went to go see it at the theater, though. Um, the best thing I can say about it, it didn't hurt Leonardo DiCaprio or Kate Winslet's career. They actually continued to thrive after it, which is a great thing. But for me, no. It's not my kind of film. Not like that. And actually, when I talk to most people, that movie never comes up in the top 10 hardly. Funny you say that. I never hear anyone go, oh, Titanic is a top 10 film. That was Samuel Jackson. Samuel wasn't even in the movie about. Always happens with Black Brothers and horror movies. Um, well, if you ain't calling one of the greatest yet, he never will be because the cat's been around for about 30 plus years. So I was watching This Boy's Life about a week ago. Him and De Niro and Ellen Barkin. Remember when he was a kid, was eating good but great. If he ain't considered yet, he never will be. Now, I think he's in the really good to very good, but I think his charisma is what gets him over. No. He got a better name, though. Leonardo DiCaprio has a cold name. That's a cold name, but his acting chops, no. Not, no. And to be honest with you, I don't think he ever surpassed Johnny Depp. But I think he has personality. I think Leonardo's got a charisma that works. Probably in the 30 to 50 slot. Probably where I got him. 30 to 50. 30 to 50. I did like The Wolf of Wall Street. Catch Me If You Can. The stuff he tends to do is more slick than him actually being good. Because I give you an example. Aviator, he didn't really do the Howard Hughes thing just as he could. The Gatsby thing was kind of slick. And he's cool with slick. See, to me, he got the kind of love that Ray Liotta should have had. My personal opinion. Heck no. Come on now. Will, Pursuit of Happiness, and even the 6 Degrees of Separation is far deeper. Will can play the smart brother, smooth. No. And Tom Hanks is in that same category with Hoffman, De Niro, Pacino, and Denzel. No. There are tears to this. He's not better than those cats. I watch some of his movies and I like some, but I just don't, I'm not bedazzled by him like that. I don't look at him and think, oh, I think he got a cool name. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is a cold name. But his game, as far as his actual skills, he's older now. So he doesn't look as got that boyish charm thing going. And I give him his credit. Nobody's gonna care about Heat 2. Who gonna be the sidekick in Heat 2? So you look at all the names you didn't mention. You mentioned about 5 or 6 names. He's not in their category because it's called money, director, budget, and they want to team him with somebody, but I don't know who they're gonna team him with. Takes a lot to make movies because it costs money. Oh wow, Christian Bale. It costs money. Because sometimes you can sit on a movie for 5, 10 years and all they do is remix it and add a couple parts. But sometimes the movie been sitting in the can for about 4 or 5 years. That's why people don't get it misconstrued. They thinking that when the movie come out, why so and so didn't get paid like that. Well, you can answer that question yourself. Do you really think he's on Russell Crowe level? Could he have been in American Gangster with Denzel Washington and play Russell Crowe's role? Just give me a yes or no. One for yes, two for no. Give me that. See, he's what I call a real slickster kind of an actor, which is cool. It's kind of like a Christian Slater type. See, there's tears to this. DiCaprio, all you gotta do is a one or a two. Oh, you do know. Because if I mention Leonardo DiCaprio against John Travolta, is he better than Travolta? Is he better than Tom Cruise? His role was great, but Jamie Foxx played his role good too. But is it the role he plays or is it him being played? Again, it depends. I don't think of him as a top flight actor, but I think he's got enough charisma that he's in a really good, very good career. I just don't look at him as like this bedazzled by him as an actor. How do you think Leonardo DiCaprio compares to Michael B. Jordan? And he ain't better than Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick was the closest thing to Denzel that I saw. You know. But I like some of his roles. But I don't gravitate to him where I'm blown away by him. I don't. I think Ray Liotta could have done everything Leonardo did. It just was a different style of acting. No, I don't know why you knock him down a few notches too. Because mine is strictly about his acting. Ain't got nothing to do with nothing else. He never nails nothing. That's what I was saying in my mind too. Funny, our minds are like in syncopation. Because The Departed left a lot to be desired. And that's the problem I had with him. There is first tier and then there's second. And see, he's too big of a box office draw. What's up? What's up? TSP is in the house. TSP. He leaves me kind of cold. How you doing, TSP? Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you, man. He leaves me kind of cold. So when you ask me, he's not in my top 25, but 30 to 50, I'll give him that. Longevity. I'll say this about DiCaprio. He was able to turn corners that say that Charlie Sheen couldn't turn. You know the broke Tom Cruise knockoffs? He was better than all them cats. And there's a few other. But asking me, do I think that he is nah, I can't put him with the heavyweights. I told you there are tears to this life and there's tears of these things. I can't do it. Can't do it. All right, TSP's in the hills. Holla holla. He old. So what I keep trying to tell you. What did Shaq say? What did Shaq say? What did Shaq say about Jordan? What did he say? 29, 39 is not 29. Come on now. He's getting against them fresh legs Wiry cat. Center is the truth. I'm telling you, center about to run for the if Carlos Alcaraz ain't there, he gonna be running things for the next 3 or 4 years, and it ain't easy to do that. See, you can say what you want about Tom Cruise. Remember when Brad Pitt was supposed to be lined up for that? They always got these cats lined up. They can't do it. And it's luck, but it's also the roles you take. It's also being able to hit the cameras. Cruise always seems to do a balance act that works. He gets the right vehicles that will complement what he do. DiCaprio just comes across like you're looking at some cat who's still trying to impersonate his daddy or his uncle or his older cousin or his godfather, and he doesn't quite get it right. He needs one of the Michael Douglas type of roles. That's what he needs. Cruz can play the cocky cat really well. Or DiCaprio's got to, look at the Mo Jack Nicholson with something that would really, but a balance of arrogance and vulnerability. And to me, he doesn't hit first. DiCaprio is kind of like Jimmy Butler, a guy that's like a lower first, high second tier. And there are moments when he comes up, it's like he looks like he's there, but then there's those other moments when you're kind of like, I got to take him down a peg. That's how I look at him. It's not a bad thing because I mean the cat's been around. Listen, he came out of growing pains. No one saw him being like that. Tell you something. All else fails. He ran circles around Scott Baio. And who thinks you're gonna come off with being on a teenage teeny bop teen machine show that you become a household name? So he already caught mad W's. It's just that when we start talking about, you know, if I ask you Leonardo against Robert Duvall, okay, guys who I consider high second tier caliber actors, or Tommy Lee Jones, or a character actor like Samuel Jackson portrays, where is he fit? You know, how's he fit up against Wesley Snipes? You know, so it's real. It's you know, and so if he has some kind of roles like that, that's all I'm saying. But yeah, Djokovic is on. Come on now. And see, this is the tricky part for him too. Is to water down what Alcaraz. Imagine if Alcaraz is playing, his butt don't get to no three. It's fool's gold. It's cool for the cat from England who lost the runner up, but you gotta have things your way. What is your favorite method of calling? Um, Probably this, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I'm a live kind of cat, and see, I can record videos in my sleep, and I can do shorts, and it's no problem. The live stream is uncut. That means that whatever happens, happens. So and I don't have the same constraints as I do when I do regular videos. When I gotta do regular video, and I can get to the final points. When we talk here, I can veer into different lanes, which is when you're doing a video, you gotta be more you're direct with what you're trying to say. Whereas when you go live, it's like being on theater. So I got to say live. I love them all for different reasons. The shorts, because there's sometimes you can hit things in moments that you go, okay, that was perfect for that. Then the regular videos, you can extend. But the live stream, it's like taking it to the stage. And when I can go live, I can have people come on and we can communicate. You might bring up a name or talk about something that ain't been that you don't see mentioned, and then we can go into it. We can go into those details. So I like that part. Depends on what your topic is. Depends on what your base is. It's no rhyme or reason. It's no rhyme or reason. Um, Depends on what your base is. Depends on what your subject matter is. Depends on what your vibe is like. You know. Um, I think live just allows you to kind of, like I said, I enjoy it because like sometimes I get people come on and we talk about topics that never are submitted. And then there are topics that we can just wing it and we can expound on. And it's kind of tough to expound on when you're doing pre-records or you're doing mid shorts because you're concentrating on what you're just concentrating on. Whereas, like this poll question here with Mitch McConnell, we can go into the details about his wife leaving, going back to China, etc., and we can expound on it. You really don't expound on the same thing when I love World Cup because I respect the athleticism. Um, I understand what they got to do because you got to be really in good endurance and shape to do that. And well, no, you don't want. Listen, if you see a team beating somebody that's putting up 6, 7 goals, that team sucks. That goalie is gonna be fired, or he might have to walk back to his country. And if they don't lynch him, um, no, it goes pretty much like I expect. I know why you don't like it because the USA men's team ain't gonna do nothing. I already know. I already know. Wimbledon is something I've always loved, though. It's my Super Bowl of tennis, but I do like World Cup. I like it because you got to use your feet and you have to. It's a lot of movement, and it's like if you play basketball with your feet, that's what it's like. They do everything the NBA does, that they're doing with their feet. Um, the positioning is different. It's a certain aesthetic to it where it's just a battle of wheels, and it's like, because if a team is dominant, it's kind of hard to tell because you only go by goal. That's the downside to it. Oh yeah, U.S. Open. I've always watched U.S. Open. Yeah. Oh yeah, I love tennis. French Open, all that. Australian, which always throws me for a loop. The Australian Open is the one that throws my head for a loop because it's a lot warmer there, and you get fooled by how the sweat pours off of cats. They be drenching. I think soccer is one of those sports that, again, I will say this: you come to respect it. That's wonderful. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. In 4 months already, ain't that something? Wow, wow, time flies already. I tell a story all the time. As a parent, you go from Blues Clues to YouTube, and it's almost like one fell swoop. It's quicker than you think. I could believe it. It's a competitive nature. It's a constant movement. It's a lot of rotation. It's a lot of counters that you have to do. I can see it. Tennis keeps you honest too. You got to be on part, and it's a lot of technical things you have to do. You see, it works your angles, and you know, it's a tough sport. It's a very demanding sport on your body, and also it's one of those sports that when you start very young, you have to, it's like doing, your constant movement, so you don't have time to, try telling it to these parents out here today. Though I see a lot of people today where they just, you know, they, I agree, but that's where it's up. That's where we are today, though. We're in an era where they want the whole world, and that's how they communicate. That's the reality, you know. It's the era we live in. Oh, I believe it because it's addictive. Government knew what they were doing. The government knew what they were doing. It's almost hard to imagine an era when you didn't have it. So I tell you like this: when I'm out in the streets, I spend most of my time just listening to music on my phone. I don't very rarely call anybody out in the streets because I'm trying to bop. Well, it's only when I'm home do I put it to usage like that. But it's not something that I really get into. But yeah, people do all the time. I mean, it's a way of life. Yep. Again, that's what the what it has done. You'd have told somebody back in the early '80s that that would have been that a nerdy. You tell somebody that Bill Gates with a nerdy would have people like that, they would have laughed you out your room. And that's the reality. No one saw uh computers and stuff like that being the end all be all. No one did. Because it's true. Back in '83, more people bought Thriller than they bought Apple computers and stuff. Yeah, you got to do that sometime. Good luck with being a parent today, though. So I don't have no headphones on. I have my music outwardly. Ain't nobody gonna sneak up on me. And I don't have no problem with that, but I be bumping my music as I go walking. I don't put no headphones on. Mm-mm. Yep. That's how I kind of do it. It's a different day and time these days, but it's always been. It depends on where you live, though. Different day and time. That's because they grandstanding. And again, there are people who could do that kind of thing because they draw on attention. You have a society and political figures who've told you it's good for you to stand over people and act like they're less significant than you. That's what you've gotten. Remember that. Because grandstanding 101 is allowed. Yeah, it's up to what you decide to do, but you know, it's just the reality of what you're doing. That's all. Music, podcasts at the cribs. Cause podcasts don't really do it for me unless there's something that's compelling that I want to hear. Music can always just take me away. It depends what kind of podcast it was. It had to be something that I really want to hear or something that was distinctive. I usually don't find anything that's that distinctive that would get my attention. Whereas music, I can always put something on and bump. It's got to be something that catches my imagination off the bat. Podcast got to be like ear candy. The music I know is gonna be ear candy. See how I did that? Yeah. But if I'm at home and I'm watching TV, it's podcasts. Duke, Miles played like whatever atmosphere he was in at the time. And then he was extreme. Coltrane, same thing. Duke was always pretty much consistent. Listen to Clark Terry on trumpet and you come back to me on that. And by the way, Duke Ellington was my introduction to jazz as a little boy. So, and you know, even when his son Mercer was doing the taking over the band duties, you always knew. It was always a smooth out thing. Miles got to that point when he did cooking and with the Miles Davis Quartet and different things like that. And when he did before he did Sketches of Spain, even though Sketches of Spain was loud, the ironic thing is that when he played with silence, that's where very effective. But he had a loud, he always had a tone. And Coltrane was that muscular sax that he played. Even though his tempo got mellow, but his stuff was still. But Duke Ellington always was like linear with that. It was always a straight streamer. That's who I'd say was more mellow. I've never gotten asked that question before, so and you must have almost like watched something I did to know that I don't mention those three. But I do hold those three in high regard, though. But they all hit me in different ways, and they're three of the most greatest. Yeah, been a while since I listened to you from. It's been a minute. But when a name like that, you don't forget them. And it's been a minute. It's been a minute. Different types of vocalists, different type of situation. I like Tony a lot. You from was nice, just a different vibe. It's a different vibe. Oh, they took him out, and he was working with Babyface. All that whole thing with High Five is like CSI. You could do a whole CSI High Five, literally. Oh, I believe it. I believe somebody had some insurance on him. If you notice, the last era of music, as I call the 90s, has had more crime with cats getting locked up, dying, all kinds of stuff. You tell me. You tell me. Because the 90s is the most, yeah, it's had more. It's had more. But I did like his tone, though. Well, yeah, because you ain't never seen that kind of money. You ain't never had them kind of drugs. You ain't never had that kind of lifestyle. Shoot, you a fresh teen, 20 something, and I give you 10 grand, coke, two or three girls, clothes, put your apartment condo, alcohol, shh, and you don't know nothing, and you don't, and you'll be green. You're like, yeah. I think before that, for me, I think the 2000s when it became all about ringtone, that pretty much was the kiss of death. I mean, there's a few things I've liked, but the ringtone thing alone, because you got to remember, if someone says that you're only worthy of being they call Rihanna the ringtone queen, right? So 20, 15 seconds is all you're worth. That should tell you all you need to know right there. Um, they again, when acts were basing on samples and loops, 99 guest appearances, artists kind of drowning their own stuff, you're getting all what you're getting. And people don't get a chance to develop no more. So that's the biggest problem right there. Some come out and they're not ready. It is. Hollywood, Vegas was Sin City in Hollywood because you sold your soul, because you knew what you had to do. And you were going to play by a set of rules that told you that the more you make, the bigger you are, you know, and that's what you gave yourself to be. But the only problem is you better not get old and you better not ask for help. By his daddy, not by nothing else. I don't think there was no, he was broke. Taken off for what? His daddy took him out. Wasn't taken off for no other thing. He had demons. He had real life dealers. And the weekend was never on for me. So I thought he was a generic quadruple broke Michael Jackson whopper. And I never got the hype. I did like Can't Feel My Face. He had a couple okay songs, but the dude couldn't even hold a mic right. And I thought he was corny. But again, people like that sort of thing. They, you know, you know. I never got the hype. Never. Always like kicks to me. If Marvin Gaye had a done something that he had some money, maybe, but I think he was heading for being self-destructive though, and that's kind of the vibe I got. He never loved his career, and he was always a guy that was, you know, kind of down in the dumps. Well, he had no way to get out because he was going to be in debt to the companies, so he had no money. They owned him literally from Interscope to Death Row. Um, he was borrowed time. He had to play a role. He was role playing. He had to role play the Death Row. He had to role play. He was trying to get free. He had cut all his songs, did everything he's supposed to do. They weren't gonna let him go. That's the only way he could have gone was get taken out. And I tell you, Suge, just like Jimmy Iovine, Clive, all of them, Diddy, I don't know what happened to him. He was a pawn. He was a pawn. Well, now, see, I don't know if you remember or not, but when IRS came and took his stuff off his house, he was crying in the window. So he didn't do it by choice. And plus, he married some gold digging chicks who snatched him up. And he lived hard. He partied hard. Now, he was a frustrated brother who beat the system, but then got played by the system. You know, he did TV, he did film in a time when it was taboo. For a guy like that to blow up on TV with his stage act was groundbreaking. You couldn't imagine it today, but back then that was a big deal. But he played the game, he got bit by the game, he was in the game. It was like a combination there. But he didn't go broke because he wanted to. He went broke because between not paying your taxes, partying hardy, paying off them exes, and just, you know. But I have much respect for him. He's one of my favorites, you know. But his story is kind of a cautionary tale too. He was wild too. Red was wild. I don't know none of them comedians back then that weren't wild though. He was wild. Smart cat though. But, you know, the fact that he blew up speaks volumes about his greatness. Because, again, to go to TV from what he was doing, so he made a mark. He made a mark. Yeah. As I said, I will be back tomorrow. And I'll probably be on Sunday too. Let's see what you got going back to why I say stuff. I thought 50 came out good. Rule came out. Yeah, hip hop was in a decent place, but the only problem with that was that, and Eminem was big at that time. Um, Ludacris was too. Uh, I don't think though that it was. I don't think it was like a golden era like the '90s was. I think it had some. I think cats hit, but remember, let's look at those cats. All of them went into what commercialization. They came, they went. Little Wayne was the only one that kind of eked it out for doing just the music. Joe ruined the film. 50 did. Nelly crossed over. It was a different easy. Jeezy was cool for a moment. Ti did, but all those cats ended up trying to get to Hollywood. I think it was the first year we saw where cats was cashing in as soon as they had cashed on. So depends on who you talk to. I know what you're saying because it was the last of the record store era. I still remember when Kanye and 50 was talking trash. No, it ain't because cats have to compartmentalize. I remember a story about Jay-Z and Dame. They were saying when they got their first check, they said we got to go do something else because they had to go put in the clothing because there is no money in the music. Well, because a lot of times you got to pay studio time. It's because it's a novelty. It's like being a comedian. You know, what you think is funny today, some kid gonna come around 5 years from now and look at you like, they not gonna relate to it. And that's how hip hop, the lingo changes, the mind, the aesthetic changes. The older cats though invested though. That's the difference. The younger cats are investing sooner. The only problem is that the industry is trying to take them out. But if a cat can have his rights, go for it. It's like get that bag. Cause you know it's not for long. And hip hop has been churned into like the dope game. That's what they've done. You know, they don't push no. They don't. You know, that's what basically it's like. If I'm honest, that's why when you see Will up here rapping or LL or Nas or Jay Z or something, cats can still flow. Snoop does too, but again, it's not that ain't nobody got no delusion that they're gonna come out and blow up. No, you think they would though. You would really think that somebody might come along. Yeah, well, he was more about his bars than he was about the groove. But again, remember that's what was sounding at the time, and that's another thing too. You know, it's gonna sound dated to you because the beats sound different today. But it all depends on what you're going for. Again, everybody's palate and taste is different, so all depends. All depends. Well, probably because of the content alone. See, when that came out, you didn't see a lot of people talking about the leafy leaf. It was someone still considered taboo. And again, they had heard different types of rappers and tones. It's not the same as it was then. But I think if the music is good then, it can still be good today. It's just the subject matter might be, but you know, it's hard to say. If it's good music, it can last. If it ain't good, you can shake it. Yeah, because he can score. Now Robinson can give you boards, but Drummond is a rebounder and he can shoot. So yeah. However, chemistry is a big question mark. But I think Andre Drummond will fit real well with Mike Brown's scheme. I do. I think Drummond is a good upgrade because if he can score and he plays defense, he's effective. So you actually get a 2-for-1. So it could be. I think Mike Brown gonna figure out what he got to do. He's once you done got a taste of that chip, you gonna want more. So I don't know about slept on. I think he just didn't. He had some moments. I don't know why. When we talk about greatest Bucks ever, does he touch Kareem? Does he touch Giannis? Does he touch Sidney Moncrief? I mean, just saying. It don't make no difference. If you know anything about Andre Drummond, he could shoot. Mitchell Robinson ain't much of a scorer. His is more about hustle points, putbacks, and boards, and he defends real well. But Drummond is kind of a steal because if he can halfway play like to his potential, you get 2 or 3 years out of him. So I'm just saying, depends on what you're going for. But I think the Knicks are in a position where they can, yeah. He been broke down. Did you not watch him last year and the year before? He got his behind toe up the last couple of years. I've been watching him. He was barely moving last year. You gotta remember something. Listen. He's a professional and he's a great player, one of the greatest ever. But you see, there's a reason why you can't get back to that mountain like you used to. Because even though it's watered down, it ain't that watered down. It ain't that watered down. And again, that's the fool's goal that people keep thinking. So LeBron keeps thinking, like, okay, just because you could see something don't mean you can get by it. Just like how he couldn't get by OKC, couldn't get by Denver. Think about it. Look at Brady. Lost that game to Dallas, his last playoff game. Lost to the Rams on it. I'm just saying, cats get old, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you still, just because you can get out there and play at a level that's still better than most, doesn't mean you're gonna win. Too many things have to go your way. That's why I said Djokovic should go ahead and call it a day. Stop embarrassing himself. Because, like the man said, Von Miller, you meant. Von. Really? Is that what you're wishing on a star for? God. Only if this was 10 years ago, if this was 5 years ago. Please. Y'all getting everybody sloppy seconds and thirds now. Ain't nobody thinking about that. I don't get no Cowboy gets no love from me. But I love Cowboy fans because you stay more delusional than anybody I know. I ain't heard nothing about it, and I don't know nothing about it, so I take your word for it. Well, you got Schottenheimer coach. It depends on how Dak comes out. So your defense has to play better. Your running game has to be legit. Your receivers they have to make strides. You gotta hope that Philadelphia. What's up? Thank you for coming out. What's up, Teddy Jam? What's up, Ted? What's up? Um, you gotta hope that Washington will be better than they were last year. Philly will be better, but um you're not better than Seattle, Frisco, the Rams. So those three right there are L's. You're not better than Chicago. So at best, you're a lowercase, if you're lucky, lower mid playoff team. I don't know. I don't know. I think you'll be great when Jerry Jones is gone. Well, he'll get his wake up call if his rating starts to go down because he think he white and the money get funny. That's where you'll really get the wake up call. Yeah, if I go based on pure talent, yeah. Marino was one of the baddest quarterbacks I ever saw in my life. His arm release was ridiculous. And as a Bills fan, I don't want to give him, but that boy was bad. He came into the pros. See, I'll tell you like this. Yeah, I actually saw it way back in the day with Cowboys and Green Bay. That there was old footage. No, because Caitlin Clark is crying too much. She's privileged and pampering, and she ain't putting up the results. And once in a while, with like them brown mustard collard greens kind of kick in. Must have had somebody look like George Taylor. Must have rubbed his head and patted his belly and gave him a cookie or something. Oh yeah, the coldest game. I remember watching that long ago. Long ago. Marino on pure talent. Yeah, pure talent. Listen, I go one step beyond Marino. If we're talking about pure talent, I could throw you. I know she was, and she was a date at his one of them award shows too. I saw what she did. Um, Jeff George on pure talent. Jay Cutler on pure. Like I can name you guys on pure talent, but that ain't what gets you. I was Kalen was set up to be something, and it's middle of the road and what have you. K Walker, kind of how they gonna deal with the running game. Um, um, uh, um, don't turn the ball over at quarterback. Do your thing. I did a video about that. I call him a passport brother. I did a video about it. You should check out my video. Yeah, that goal line play was crazy in Lambeau. That was cold. As a matter of fact, when they're breathing in the huddle, that thing I can still actually see the pause. It's crazy. That's an insult to Steve Nash. That's an insult because the problem with Nash is that he actually was MVP. He got better as he got older. I don't know what she can do to her game to get better. Um, well, now that they picked up Mr. Miles Garrett, I expect they and then Mr. Pook, Mr. What's his but if he learned his lesson about making them racist remarks, yeah, well, bootleg Nash, that's kind of a compliment. That's not because see Nash didn't win and he did get those two MVPs. So I don't know where it's gonna go. Crazy kind of tell me I won't watch. A because they haven't really watched basketball, or two, they see things in a highlight clip and think, yeah, oh he is. He'll come out with a mega hat on. And they gotta clean his behind up. And that got swept underneath the carpet twice. If you said Nancy Nash, I might give it to you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, first of all, Mark Price, if she played like Mark Price, you wouldn't hear the end of her right now, as if you do right now. So she wishes. Only she could wish. And she was a bootleg Steve Nash. Her fadeaway shots would go in. No, it's like this. The way she carries herself, and she's got that Nancy Kerrigan kind of expression on her face, which turns a lot of people off. So I think that's her problem. She just got that Penelope pit stop. She's more Swifty than Swifty, and that takes a lot of work. So privileged mid white girl with no talent, not that kind, not to match the height, not to match the height. You know, pretty good, but you ain't Paige Buckner. Pretty good, but you ain't Dana Taurasi. You know, you pretty good. And sometimes you have some good moments, but you ain't memorable. You know, WNBA think they slick because they wanted a bird and magic thing, and you know, so I don't put a lot of stock in it though. I can't believe I went so hard. Well, you got seduced, and she's not near the baddest white girl I've ever seen play. They were because he used to get in their behind. A lot of people, if you really respect Brady, Brady was ethical in terms of like making you accountable for where you're supposed to be. And he sacrificed a lot. He just like Tim Duncan did. A lot of people don't understand. See, when those guys are like real linear and they're always where they were, because they held you accountable where you're supposed to be. And cats wanted to have shine. And that's the reason why they were so successful. You gotta have discipline. You gotta understand the trenches. Oh, I already know. Oh yeah, Grunk was like his Shaq. Grunk was a big body. Grunk was like one of the first tight ends I saw that really like low post you. That's all Kelsey does too. He low post you. No, she don't respect no black folk. Why would she? I hope you're not shocked when I say it like that, but why would she? She doesn't. Do you realize there are white people who never have to encounter black people at all? Never have to walk across nothing. You just have to act like you go along, get along, because you're not gonna be treated the same. You're gonna get a different pay, you know. He was one of them that changed it. I'd like to also give Shannon Sharp credit on that. Actually, I'd also say Kellen Winslow Sr. Because Kellen Winslow Sr., I saw him do everything on one of the greatest football games I ever saw with the Chargers in Miami back in 82, 83. So I can make a case for that. But I'd say that Grunt became more popularized, but Shannon Sharp has as much right because of how he went down the field. And that's how he got his position on TV. So you can actually make Shannon Sharp the case. You can say Sharp Grunt. Yeah, I remember Ben Winter Coates. He was a big boy. Iowa ain't exactly like a black spot. You ain't you ain't hear a lot of brothers, but yeah, I'm from Iowa. And she grew up in a rural, you know, again, you don't have to do the same things that your black counterparts have to do. Angel Reese has to go over. Oh, I know about Ohio. Lake Erie, I know. I know all about the Lake Erie. You get a crash course in how quick the plan will come out in March. It's just that the media and people try to downplay stuff to fit their agenda, but it's in everything. Mhm. Talent wise, could have probably have been had he stayed healthy, because um, so did Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez even more so because Tony Gonzalez was athletic. He just didn't play for the right teams. Sharp was better than Shannon. He just got hurt. He had all this. He just got hurt. Mississippi, Texas, any most of the South ones. I mean, but you can get profile anywhere you go. I mean, I had ish pretty much East Coast, West Coast, Northwest, South. You mentioned it, but obviously, if you're in the backwoods in the South, that's always the worst. The worst. Hey, bar, pull them over. What you doing out here? Because you got them sundown places. So if you're in the wrong place, sundown, they may get their clown on you. Jimmy Graham was talented, but I always thought of him as a broke Tony Gonzalez. And I don't know why Seattle traded for him. They used to mock him. He was athletic, but I thought Gonzalez was better. There was, but Sterling Sharp was bad. He was better than Shannon. Yep. They want to know what you're doing on the wrong place. Starting five with the first letter of my name. So like Michael will be Michael Jordan. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Like my name starts with T, so I picked him out. Oh, with the M. Okay. Okay. So it'll be first and last name. It don't make no difference. If you're in the wrong place, you be in the wrong place. First letter. Let's see. Who could I pick on? Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson. Um uh, Marcus Johnson. Hmm, dang, I gotta think. Michael Ray Richardson. That's four right there. Mahmoud Adu Raul. There you go. So I'm gonna have Madu, Magic, Michael Jordan, Marcus Johnson, and Moses Malone. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, Moses. That's my five. Moses. Yeah, that's a lot to think about. Yeah, Moses. Yep. Oh, oh, you going it like that? I thought you talking about the first name. Oh, dang. Oh, with all the first letter? Oh, I got it misconstrued. So you can tell I wasn't even ready. I was just going by my first name. Well, see, I got an M, an A, and an X, and you know good and well I'm not taking Xavier McDaniel, so I'm going to be eliminated. You know I ain't going to take no Xavier McDaniel. Yeah, thank goodness, because if I went by the M and the X and I said Xavier McDaniel, you're going to look at me sideways. He wasn't that memorable. His most memorable moment was going face to face in Michael Jordan's face, and you know how that turned out, so I don't think we can do that. No, I just go with the M's. I don't even know who I would pick as far as a coach, though, with the M, though. Hmm. Mike Brown. There you go. Mike Brown won a chip. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, he got you thinking. Oh, yeah, because your T works out perfectly. I like your five, too. You should win this one. I don't know. I like mine, though. If I had Moses, Mount Magic, Jordan, and I got Marcus Johnson, I like mine, too. My 5 is tough though. You gotta give me a little time to work on this one though. And you made me think. I had to think about them. But yeah, I get to use my dude Raul, and I get to use Ray John Rondo. hmm And I got to use Jordan and Magic, Moses Malone, and Marcus Johnson. I was gonna say Michael Ray Richardson. That was been off my bench. As long as I don't have to say Mikal Bridges though. Oof. And don't want to say Matt Barnes. Bridgie and Rondo are, yeah. They might be using stats against him. I don't know. It was brutal. It is brutal. Now Ronnie Cycli had a pretty good career. Could have had a better career if he took his butt to Utah, but he didn't want to take his talents there. He was a sunshine boy. Ricky Davis, I'm always gonna remember the triple double. That was tacky. And Roy Hibbert was never the same after that baby bump baby, that whole mess with Paul George. He do got a tough one. Yeah, we got to think about that one, Teddy. You got us jammed on that one. Not for reasons that you think, more so to do with expectations. See, because he's got to come behind what Shaq did, Alonzo, Ray Allen, Chris Bosh, LeBron. That's the problem. I don't think the nightlife would mess with him. I think if he was about 5 years younger, yeah. But he's a disciplined cat. It's just that, does he have the kind of, can he take that heat? Now, if he wins a ring in Miami, it'll go bigger than anybody that's been there, because unlike when Shaq went there, unlike when LeBron went there, no one sees Giannis winning a ring there. That's the difference. Oh, he would. I'll tell you a funny story. When Shaq went there with his ex-wife, right? She stepped up her weave game. I kid you not. Her weave game got better. Kid you not. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Shawnee's weave game got better. It wasn't no joke. That's what D Wade had, that break, baby. So I mean, I'm telling you, because a buddy of mine was talking about Vanessa Bryan. Said, "How does she stack to?" I said, "Them girls on South Beach make her look like a, a side dish." Please, yeah, it ain't no joke. But the way the Heat been playing, that don't work no more. When they play Heat basketball, it used to make a difference. Not as much now. It's been a while since that was. Oh, 8 Mile got busted with a model. 8 Mile got busted with a model. Yeah. Oh well. You're gonna start Kevin Garnett. This is tricky. That's what I call him, because when he got that nod for that All Star game last year, he had that red hood on. I said, "Oh, you 8 Mile now." He 8 Mile now. I'm gonna have to bench Alonzo, but it's close. Because Carl Anthony, if Carl Anthony plays like this again, then that changes. So I'll come back on. He's not gonna last long on your team. I would be bitter too. You think? Nightlife, nightlife in Miami is different than Milwaukee. Mm, but the problem with him, And RC and I were talking about this earlier. Wrong era. Wrong era. He played with the Heat back in the 90s or the 00s. Oh, they make him into a hero for real. They have a hero sandwich. Wrong era. Because his mindset's wrong. He said a few years ago he wanted to be as good as Trey Young or better. I'm like, yo. Mm-hmm. He'll be drinking a lot of beer. Maybe go watch the Milwaukee Brewers. Maybe he'll become the Fonz and go, hey, or get on Laverne and Shirley with Lenny and Squiggly. I don't think he'll last long there, though. I think he'll get bought out and go somewhere else. No, not quite. I think he'll go somewhere else. He's going to be a journeyman now. And Riley did work with the kid, too. They really did. They just couldn't get him to get to next level. You know, he settled on being good. He never got to next level. See, if he'd have had Duncan Robinson's mindset and Duncan Robinson had Hero's game, you'd have had a cold white boy. Now, if you process what I just said, you understand what I just said. That's why they didn't do nothing against Denver in the finals because they each had something the other didn't. And it's like you can't peanut butter and jelly that you wanted to. I really did. So that's all. I don't have no expectations until I see them go and get a guard and stuff. I'm not saying nothing. Did you hear me say a word? You know, if you pay close attention, I've been very quiet about the move. Oh, I understand it's a big fish for his name goes, but that's hardly all they got is 30-40%. They still need another 40% to make that team legit. They gave him so you ever sat on Santa Claus's lap and you got a piece of candy and you were happy? That's what getting Lonzo Ball was about. Now, the reality is going to be when the season starts. I'm trying to tell you the best way I know. This trade is really to see if he can do anything with Rudy Gobert. That's what it's about. Obviously, he takes pressure off of Ant, but it's like, can you make Gobert legit being a guard the way you play? That's where it's going to come to be. If they do, they got to get past the second round because Ant is going to get wasted if they don't. And I think that he's got too much going where they don't. I think that they're just kind of like willing to see that hey, we're gonna try to build this team of Joe unknowns. Because remember, Luca got to the finals with Kyrie, and what else did he really have at the time? So it's like, okay, we're gonna see what happens. Well, he's getting long in the tooth now. So they again, this move here is to have a guard that can attract to get him some easy points. So he will have to score. If he can score 15 points a game, that's more than they asked for. I think the Lakers realize that they really can't compete with what they need. I think they are looking to they would look at an Ant Edwards in a year or two, believe me. Oh, don't think it's not over. And if you're not paying attention, when this little Corin Vance Dukes of Hazard reject plays itself out and it don't work, they'll go back to Chocolate City. They'll go back to Lethal Weapon. Keep your eye, keep your eye on either Anthony Edwards or Tyrese Maxey. And also, don't this you asked me why I like doing my live stream because I can be more uncut on this. Quiet as it's kept. Keep your eye on John Morant because if he ever gets to behaving himself, keep your eye. Yeah, he's one of the most. He is, and I'm gonna tell you why. And so you might say, "Well, why you got him over Leonardo?" Versatility, range. It he did those Lethal Weapon movies. He did To Sleep with Anger, Grand Canyon. Well, As what he's done personally, yes. As an actor, I think he's one of the most underrated. But yeah, on the personal side, yeah. And I don't mess with him, but but he already said something that I did. He did say something a long time ago. He said Hollywood is cosmetics. Depends on what kind of video you do. Depends what kind of video you do. But when I go live like this and we getting to talking live in the flesh, I'm telling you that the Lakers are gonna make a movie, the Ant, Tyrese Maxey, or John Morant. It's gonna be somebody that you didn't see coming in the next couple of years if they stink it up like I think could possibly happen. Because we know that that dynamic Corin Vance broke Dukes of Hazard of Luca and Austin Reeves ain't gonna do like that. So if they have to get a happy brother in between, watch out. They will get some chocolate filling in between. You know how Hollywood is though, Ted, so that's not a surprise. They make you work with people that you can't stand and they say what they want. Oh, it's more noticeable in that thing. Well, that's how it's always been since the plantation days. I mean, when you don't have a say, that's what happens. It's always something. They know good and well that that cat got taken out. They know what's up. It was in Mississippi, and it's all over the news. Now, Richardson thing, yeah, he's been good. He's come a long way, but he always worked on his vernacular. He was never like limited. He wasn't splitting no verbs though. Yeah, it's all over the news though. They know what's up. I think that I think that if you're a parent, you don't you it's hard to teach your children about racism institutionalized because you got more things at you that says that hey, give people benefit of the doubt since we're integrating. But the reality is eventually the way things are, you have to be aware of stuff, you know. And you get that way, you get hardened by the world because of how it goes. It don't lead them to no fountain of dollars. Who told you that lie? Oh, I loves Caitlin Clark. Oh, I loves her. Ain't nobody gonna care about you. Ain't nobody gonna care about you. They don't care. Um, there is no crossover acceptance. I keep trying to tell people, I don't care who you marry, who you with, your uniform don't change. I can't emphasize that enough. Stop with this thinking that they gonna love me. Oh, Caitlin. Oh, they don't care. They don't care. You can be a Swifty, you can be a Caitliner. It's not gonna make a difference. You can dress like Caitlin Clark for Halloween and still gonna call the cops on you or call the state home and lock you up. I mean, it's not gonna work. It never does. It never does. Cause you're trying too hard, you know. I mean, if you rock with her, that's your business. But don't come at me thinking like, oh, you know, nobody care. Nobody care. Nobody care. It's not that deep. 'Cause. 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 ' You better glaze over a glazed donut. That's what you glaze over. And we glazing over some old mid, you know. What's wrong with that? Because I do. Brady went to Michigan, and I think he's arguably the greatest quarterback. I think Larry Bird's one of the top two, three greatest players ever. Um, does that mean that I identify with them on the personal? No. I think Bird a little bit more, but I understand we live if you live in a country where you see the situations and you're a fan, you're gonna see that. Oh, they do, but they do mean it though, because they say you're a good one. You didn't get. No, you can. Why can't you love Bird and Brady's careers? Why can't you? Oh yeah, Tyrone and Keisha's real because you educated. We ain't seen one like you. Where you from? What's your background like? You got some white in you. You ain't like them. And then when you say, "Well, can I get some reparations?" Then they say, "Oh, you are like Tyrone and Keisha. We better shut up then." That's how you cut that off with quickness. No, because you see, the thing that made Bird authentic, he was expecting that. He ain't got no problem with that. It's because he told people, "Look, if I don't have someone blackguard me, it don't count." He told you that. He told you that. Don't be up here playing Larry Bird like he Wally Zerbiak. Zerbiak was good for what he did, but he was prim, pompous, and stiff, and then his hair is symmetrical. Don't be playing Bird like that. Bird came to play, and he wasn't scared. That's why people gave Bird. No, because he beat him on the court. But he also understood that, he knew what Zeke was saying because he understood. And remember, Bird could almost identify because you slow white dude who can shoot and play, but people just looked at you and thought, ain't no way in the world you getting by nothing. And then he worked that magic. That's too soon to say. And if I go based on what I saw, I tell you no. I tell you right now, more like a broke Junior Whopper Tom Chambers. To be like Larry Bird, you got to galvanize your team. You got to be disciplined. You got to have a hunger. Hype? You see, when you ask me questions, you're going by hype. Bird came out and played, made his team better. Came out and had that thing. These cats come out today shooting threes and scoring, but I can't tell you that their game is going to be as good. I only go by W's and L's. Holler at me when the guy has 40 plus 50 win seasons and then the team is like fifth, sixth seed. Then we can talk. If he ain't fifth or sixth seed, this conversation is mute. Okay? And I'm not being rude. I'm being real. See, I'm being real. I'm not being rude. I'm being real. When he got fifth, sixth seed in the West, he's averaging 25, 30 points a game, and his team is a legit team. Thank you. Oh yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I felt Bucher was right. There was no front. There is no leverage for LeBron at this stage. Rich Paul has cost a lot of his, and they could sit here and cheerlead and they're not getting top dollar. LeBron messed up. After he won that chip, he should have gone in trying to get ownership. Well, he's auditioning. He's auditioning. I think women's basketball has always been pretty good. It's just that the powers be um, just ain't been pushing it. That's all. They got agendas, just like the men's game. They got agendas. It ain't always what you seeing. Now that might be worth. That would be something. There you go. Now that's the hot take right there. That's exactly what Giannis and them need. with Bam. That's exactly what they need. No, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No Dennis Schroeder at all. The guy who was too dumb to sign a smart contract and he stunk it up last year uh in the playoffs. He sucked for Cleveland. When he had those two games, he stunk. He didn't do nothing out. No. Well, I heard Kevin Durant wants to go there. I like Cade. I like Cade. They got to get up. Well, Tobias Harris was your second best option. Yeah, you're gonna be not gonna be suffering for a long time. I do like Cade though. I don't know what to expect because I mean Detroit, because he ain't got nobody to hide behind. He ain't got nobody to hide behind. You got to remember, you got to have someone. You got to have an apron to keep his behind covered. Oh, that first round, because I mean, really, you got a freakish injury before the start of the playoffs. Yeah, you did. He's just doing a LeBron. That's all. And he's always looking for someone to cover his behind. Party time. That's why I call him. Party time. Party hardy. That's because them white boys don't mess with her no more. And there ain't no money on her. And they've replaced her with those escorts named Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and Meg The Stallion. She was the video vixen. Look, she still look good. She just ain't got no talent. She ain't got nothing to offer him. She's still good. She ain't got nothing to offer him though. They done with her. I saw a video of her with Christopher Williams that somebody was showing, sending something to me. Party hardy. Party hardy. What's that? The OJs. Uh was it Living for the Weekend? Party hard. I could hear the OJ singing it. She do. I don't even want to look at her on Instagram. I avoid her because ain't nothing there. It's a shell. It's just a silhouette. She been like on that tip, just like Maya Campbell. I'm just telling you, a lot of them once they don't have anything going on, they've been pimped. They had to, flex, and then there's no flex. So now what they got? So yeah, I'll be ready to throw a fist. I don't by getting too close. I just hope that Stacy just finds herself because I mean, that industry will make you delusional. And I get it. When they ain't got no use for you, then you're just back to where you were. Like back on the Greyhound. Well, she's been that way though. Remember she was in Clueless 30 years ago. And she was like, yeah, Brandy. Well, Brandy ain't got nothing going on in her career. I would go crazy too if my no talented brother is 3 times bigger than I can. He got no talent and he got more press and attention than I can. What's wrong with that picture? If you're Brandy, you got to be devastated because that's embarrassing, but that's the reality. She was stacked when she married an old man. She got turned out. You know how it is. I mean, you know, drugged up, thugged up. You know, tracked a woman, but it was not going to end well. You're using that Marilyn Monroe template, you know it's not going to end well. Oh yeah, that's how they go. Well, I've been noted about Latoya. What you want to know about Latoya? She married the mob. She married a real. That dude was a real live gangster. She married. Jack Gordon was like a reject of Goodfellas and Carlito's Way and all that. But that's how the industry is though too. So you marrying what you got to deal with because they do run the game. If you're hip to Michael Franchese, if you're hip to Michael Franchese, he got a video about how he had a hand in the Jackson's victory tour. So check it out if you haven't. Of course, you know about Michael Jordan's daddy too. This stuff is real. Oh, I grew up Latoya. Latoya was a crush. I got a funny Latoya Jackson story. I once had a Latoya Jackson button I used to wear, and my buddy, the cat we played ball with, the brothers and around the way, he didn't know Latoya Jackson. He says, "Is that your girlfriend?" We cracked up. I said, "You wish." They wanted in on her. Yeah, it's hard to spell. I had to have it done right. He's one of those cats that should have had a bigger career. Now he be vexing about how Puerto Ricans are undertreated. I remember it. As a matter of fact, I had a buddy of mine who had the magazine, and I let him keep it because my magazine wouldn't open up right. And I'm gonna leave it at that. You can think what you want. I'm gonna leave it at that. I had that magazine, and I let him check it out, and my magazine didn't quite open right. You mean my buddy cracked up because my best friend back, we was in Hampton, Virginia, and he said, "Man, we laughed about that one for days." There was this cat named Ike. He used to play on the football team in Costco. Cracked up. He said, "Latoya's your girl?" Man, we cracked up. He said, "You wish." I said, "Wow. Brother don't watch TV." Brother don't watch TV. But he made my day. But he don't watch TV. Oh, he cracked up. Yeah, because I had Jackson buttons on, and I would have thought it would have been obvious because I Michael Button and 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 I was like, okay. I like, okay. Yeah, Latoya and me, yeah. This was around the way though. So you gotta remember we around the way. You gotta remember cats don't be watching TV like that. So and she didn't really have a career like that either. Because people be serious when they say stuff like that. They don't know everybody in pop culture. I know about Olivia Rodrigo, and she's getting a lot of attention because I went out to eat about a month ago, and one of these girls that was what did you call it? Biestro, whatever, you know, one of them coffee tea places, bistro. Anyway, she had a mean look. She had a Kendrick Perkins face on through when we were sitting down. But then I said, "Well, what you gonna do?" "I'm gonna go see Olivia Rodrigo." And then she had this big old Kool-Aid smile. I said, "Okay, that's what it took for you to have some personality." Okay, so Ray Leonard, yeah, she just someone that put money on Ray Leonard because he was bought and because he did the Sprite. He was pre after OJ and before Jordan. You know, he was the USA gold medal and dancing and grinning, and he had all them women, all that stuff. Sonny Liston was just a brother that was trying to make a buck. He was a big buck who, you know, played by the game with the mob. I can't really compare the two because it's a whole different. That's not fair because he got out of prison because they had a stack on him. You know, you need to read the book, watch you know, yeah, just like Don King. It's like Don King. People forget Don unalive too and got 4 years. No one ever talks about that. That's connections, my friend. Only in America. A lot of that boxing thing is tied to that. I'm not that big on Rodrigo. She's mid to me. Cute act. Selena Gomez is below average. Got at the right place, right time. That's all I can say. Never got it. Oh yeah, you got to go read that about Liston, man. They took him out. They turned his lights out. That's why they still got the Man's Act. That's what R. Kelly and Diddy are doing time for now, even though he got pardoned by Trump in 2017. Please make it make sense. How do you get pardoned by something and they still use the White Slave Act? Yeah, but you do other things with your mouth too. Not just hit notes. You hit different kinds of notes. Jennifer Lopez knew about hitting the right notes. That's why she still got a career. You know, she ain't got no talent, but she still got a career. Selena Gomez played low ball, did what she had to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got that whole lifestyle from Diddy and she ran with it. She's a mid act. There ain't nothing that I'm seeing with her yet that I would really, she's mid. They just got a lot of money on her, that's all. And when they put money on you, they make you look better than what you are. That's all I can say about her. For the hype you get, you expect a lot more. You think she gonna be like Christina Aguilera? That's what you thinking. Well, that ain't saying much though. Oh, I saw that video. I saw it in real time back in the day though. She's like, you use Toby, you don't get with Toby. Even though her mom was full of it because J Lo got turned out by them Wayans brothers. How you think she got put on? She used to mess with Keenan. The heck people be thinking this is something new. Brother's been played pity pat with that all up and down when nobody was trying to. When she was wearing glasses, when she was 4-eyed, and she had a press hit hairdo like she was a Paula Abdul reject. Brothers put some money on that. And she was messing with Wesley. She married white though, but or Tinder, but she messed with the brothers in the dark. We know the real. Oh, she married a white boy. She married well, she married within the proximity, but she messed with the ones to get to where she got. But on the low low, she's on the home team. But you ain't heard it from me though. Finesse the brothers and do the postage stamps with the ladies. But you ain't heard it from me though. Because that's why she's so frustrated and she can't keep no relationship. That's why Suge had that video on her. Because she's into that cat's meow. And you know good and well when you're chasing around some drunk like Ben Affleck 30 years later, you always know. Because they don't have no vocabulary, IQ, bank account. Massa used to get you a big old thing of bacon and beans, fatten you, get you into and you ain't used to that. And all you gotta do is run. Run, Blackie, run. That's all you do. Run, Jackie, run. So they articulate enough to get them over. You know it's a slave auction. You go in that locker room, your towel is down, they watching you. That's all they do. Feed them, make them big, thick thighs, and they auction them off the block. You ain't gonna have no vocabulary. Because OG actually showed you the way, and Jim Brown did too. So we're gonna get you bucks out here acting. Y'all can't even articulate. Mm. Oh yeah. Well, look, everybody know about how Jennifer Lopez got down. Her mama full of it. I know she turned tricks. No good and well when you don't live in color. See, because she was gonna be the anti Rosie Perez. How you think she got hooked up with Selena movie? You really think, oh, you're just a great fleeting actress and you have a lot of talent? How you think it got down? She was a mid fly girl. She couldn't even really hit them spins properly, but she had the junk in the right place. See, somebody saw her on on that one show. She did a pilot of South Central with Lawrence Tate when she's wearing those glasses, looked all nerdy. Someone saw that body and then said, "You know what? I'm gonna do something with that. We can make something with that. We can make something with that." So that's what happened. I ain't got to talk in code with her because she ain't gonna mess with. Ain't nothing that's not out there. It's all on the real. Everybody know how she got down. Everybody know how she got down. She don't know Diddy now though, but that's why the marriage broke up. She gonna have to testify, and she wasn't gonna say nothing. She know what's up. She wrote some hooks. She had a cute little pen game. Well, she got messed with mess with Irv. That's what you all do. Get you a sugar daddy and get in the business, right? A couple things. Problem she run into now is that because Nelly then went mega, she can't even pack a Chitlin drive through. He messed it all up for her right now. She still got Grant. She look good too. She gets better. She gets older. She just don't have nothing. She was a mid. People don't like it when I say she was a ghetto version of Beyonce before Beyonce because she came out, but uh, you know. So I'm gonna get ready to go in a couple minutes though. I gotta get rid of Buzz. I will be back on tomorrow. So you cats coming back tomorrow? If you're coming back tomorrow, give me a one. Cause I'll be back tomorrow. I gotta get some nightlight. It's kind of cooled off a little bit, so I gotta get me some. She's not legendary to me. She's good. I think as a stage performer, and I think that that's where her strength is, and she got longevity. Probably about the same time as you saw me today. So just be on the lookout for me. Ted came on a little bit later, but I'm up for it. I'll be on. I think if she ever comes up with a classic song, she could do something, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Not with what she putting out. So, but I will be back on tomorrow. I gotta get ready to go because I go hit everything. Had a great conversation with you cats. Ted, I'm glad you came back. RC, glad you came back. Tim, thank you for coming on earlier. Everybody else that was peeping, even the trolls. Appreciate everybody. I'm gonna go get on and get myself together. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free, and check out the videos. Give me some commentary on some stuff, and we're gonna do this more. Great conversation with you cats. Peace and the best. I'm out.